And today is the 21st of January, 2023. And we have a special show tonight. Tonight it's going to be an extra hour, 2 hours, and we're going to discuss and take a look at bigger picture for 2023 and maybe even beyond. And we have a special guest tonight, Patricia Robles. A lot of you know her already. And I'll give her a more full introduction as we get closer to her time to speak, which should be half an hour past now. And then Deborah Knighton Tallarico will also be here today and giving her way of looking at this year coming up and beyond. And that's what all three of us are doing. It's a forecast show. So let's start with what's going on now. Today, during this show, actually, there's a new moon in Aquarius. It's just over 1 degree of Aquarius. And to go along with that, Uranus is changing directions tomorrow from retrograde to direct. After that happens, every planet is direct. All systems are go. I know a lot of you have felt over the last couple of months like just things just don't get moving, things feel stuck. A lot of people felt that things felt quite dark. Then things started shifting. On the 12th of January, Mars went direct. And this week, on the 18th of January, Mercury went direct. And we have been in a dark moon, we still are right now, until the new moon in Aquarius, midway through our show. So there's been a lot of, that means dark moon for the last several days. So sometimes people have a hard time with it. And then the holidays too. A lot of times people don't really feel great or happy during the holidays. So now we have the turn of the tide is after this weekend. New moon in Aquarius, Uranus going direct. Let me tell you something more about that. The Aquarius new moon and Uranus going direct. Uranus is the ruling planet of Aquarius. So this is a very Aquarian weekend. Soon, in March, Pluto will be leaving Capricorn and entering Aquarius and stay there for about 20 years. That's extremely important. Let me take you back to the late 1700s, 1776. The United States declares its independence from Britain. Not long after, 1777, Pluto went into Aquarius. That was the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, from 1777 to 1797. 20 years in Aquarius, which is a long time. And this time, it's also 20 years, from 2023 to 2044. This year, Pluto will go in and out of Aquarius. And next year, it'll go back into Capricorn a little bit toward the end of the year and then back into Aquarius in its fullness late 2024. So what was happening back the last time that we had Pluto in Aquarius? One thing was the planet Uranus was discovered during those 20 years, 1777 to 1797. Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, was discovered during the time that Pluto was in Aquarius. Uranus, the Aquarius ruler. Also, there were two revolutions going on at that time. American Revolution and French Revolution. And those revolutions give a lot of what the meaning is of Aquarius and a lot of what the meaning is for the age of Aquarius. The United States Constitution has a lot of what the Aquarian principles are in it. Equality, power to the people, of the people, by the people, for the people, self-determination, and also diversity within unity. Diversity within unity. All are equal. No hierarchy anymore. Once we get more fully into Aquarius, There's no more hierarchy or more limited hierarchy in our world. That means the patriarchy is seeing its last days. May not look like it on the outside, seems like a lot of patriarchal stuff still going on. But underneath the surface, there's another world that's growing very quickly. And that's this new consciousness that's part of the age of Aquarius. Both Deborah and Patricia will be speaking a lot about the changing of consciousness. Let's just talk a little bit about that now. So when you're changing your consciousness, number one, in order to really be able to change it, you can't let fear take over your consciousness. You can feel fear from time to time. We all do. We're human. But when you let fear take over, there's no movement toward new consciousness. So I know a lot of you that listen here, you meditate a lot and you do things that are within your spiritual practices. And these are all good. These are all necessary, actually, in order to change our consciousness. And, even some of us say, well, I don't think anybody's better than anyone else. What do you mean equality? I've always believed in equality. Really dig a little deeper on that, Maybe you think that people that come from the South are inferior to you. Maybe you think people that are corporate people are inferior to you. Doing the reverse, right? Everybody's equal. Our essences, everybody's equal. That doesn't mean we're equal in every single thing we do. If I'm playing tennis, I'm going to be better than someone else. I'm going to be worse than someone else. But that's within that exercise, within that sport. Overall, the essence of who I am, in the eyes of God, Goddess, I'm no better or worse than anyone else. That's the place we all need to get to inside ourselves in order for this age of Aquarius to blossom, to bloom. How about this diversity within unity idea? So what that is that's very Aquarian, because Aquarian is about every individual being different than every other individual and feeling good about their difference, their authenticity. At the same time, everything connects as one. We all connect as one. In the past, much of the time when people think about equality, they think of everybody being the same. Equality is being what I am. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about everybody being recognized and honored for their differences. And what has the other side been like? So we got the one side is like everybody's the same in order to make unity. The other side is we need to be an individual, every man for himself. Don't tell me what to do. My life is free. Doesn't matter about everybody else. But I'm free and I'm number one. That's to the other extreme. We're talking now about everybody being individuals and still being able to join in community, still being able to join on a consciousness level with everybody else. I don't think that within our recent history that's been done, except maybe in small groups and things like that. You know how many times you've gone to like meetings and it's equality meeting, but then nothing ever gets done in the meeting. Just everybody voices what they believe, and then it just sits there for hours. Nothing gets done. That's the old way of having unity. The new way is everybody's different. Everybody has their own individuality, their authenticity, their own voice. In 1777 to 1797, during that 20 years that Pluto was in Aquarius, classical music really was rising. Mozart was during that time. I see like classical music, like orchestras, diversity and unity at its greatest. Each instrument, obviously, is true only to the instrument that it is. Doesn't try to become like any other instrument. It's very individualized, has its own sound. And when the music plays, when the orchestra plays, beautiful, beautiful unity. Diversity and unity at its best. And this is what we are capable of as a human family. We're capable of honoring each person as the individual that they are, and yet still being able to have that beautiful sound of unity for all of us together. Some of you may be laughing now, saying, "You are a Pollyanna, sir. What are you talking about? Take a look at the world." Now, I know what the world is on the outside. I know what it looks like. I know what's been going on for the last many years. Let's talk about the ages a little bit. Pisces age began, in my estimation, about 150 years before Christ was born. But the birth of Christ was extremely important for the age of Pisces. After Christ was born, about 600 years later, Muhammad was born. That's the very beginning of the age, because remember, each age is about over 2,100 years. So that's just the very birth of that Pisces age. Why did I mention those two births? Because an important part of the age of Pisces was organized religion. Christianity, Muslim being the two largest, right? Now we're coming to the end of those 2,000 years. Organized religion, in my estimation, is shifting. Aquarius is about the people, each person. It's not about people needing gurus or heads of churches to tell them how to be spiritual. It's more and more about each person being able to individually connect with spirit, what they see as spirit, what they see as unity. That's going to grow stronger and stronger through the years. What about Christ and Muhammad? Well, the consciousness is what matters now going forward. We need to leave the Piscean age with the consciousness, for instance, of Christ. We don't need to go with the church. We need to go with the consciousness. That's going to be a great foundation for all of us in the age of Aquarius, because we want to take the best of what the Piscean age has been. And what we humans did with Christ, how we have managed churches, that's another issue. That's what we did. That doesn't speak badly about Christ or Muhammad or anyone else that was spiritual. That just says that we humans, as time went on, became more involved with the form than with the essence or the soul of what those religions started out being. So you take a look now and you say, how is this going to happen? How's diversity within unity with equals going to happen? Well, I'm not going to lie to you. There's some of the things that are happening in the world now are part of what we're going through in order to get where we need to go. Excuse me. Sorry about that. In order to get where we need to go. So this diversity within unity is also internal. Those of you that know some astrology know that there's like all these planets that sit inside your natal chart, that sit inside of you. That sit inside of you. Each planet in a sign is a different voice inside of you, a different facet of yourself, a different part of yourself. And as we're growing up in the world, from parents, teachers, society, certain parts of ourselves, we may be told, not good. Not good. Maybe you're a little girl and you wanted to play sports. And back in the day, don't play sports. That's not feminine. We have some other activities that'll be more feminine for you. We want you to do those. What does that woman do? Buries that. Tries not to have it a part of who she is, that voice inside of her. Man, same thing. He's found to be crying and being very sensitive when he's a young boy. Parents say, that's not being very male. You need to stop being that way. Part of him pushed to the side. In order for diversity to work, inside ourselves or outside ourselves, every voice that we have inside needs to be honored in its authenticity. And from that place, we can find the integration of all those voices inside. That's why it's so important in transformation into new consciousness to let go of ways that you've been programmed to be different than who you are in your authenticity. The more you can be in your authenticity, the more able you'll be to find that unity. Otherwise, the unity won't be real because certain voices will be pushed aside. And once you become whole, then you're at your best. And then you're ready to be a part of the consciousness of this new world. So that's like really important. So Pluto in Aquarius, March 23rd. It'll go back into Capricorn for a while and then go back to Aquarius again. And like I said, we'll stay there for 20 years. Let's take a look at now, go through the months. So this month, as I said before, we had Mars going direct on the 12th of January. Mercury was retrograde. It went back direct on the 18th of January. And now on the 22nd, tomorrow, Uranus goes direct. And let me say it again. Uranus, ruler of Aquarius. Uranus was discovered the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, during a time when what Aquarius really is was in the world strongly. 2 revolutions going on. This is where we're going inside ourselves. So after Uranus goes direct, all planets are direct, starting on the 22nd, which is tomorrow. Then, or I should say now, Jupiter's in Aries. And Jupiter will stay in Aries till end of May of this year. The next really important energies that are coming will be the 2 eclipses that happen on the 20th of April and on the 5th of May. Before that, however, I researched a lot about, I do certain degrees, and 28 degrees of fixed signs is a really important degree right now. I'll take you back to 2017. 2017, there was a solar eclipse, new moon in Leo, at 28 degrees of Leo. That was a total solar eclipse, and that one actually traveled across the United States. So it was extremely important. Trump was president at that time. And that month, earlier in that month, in Charlottesville, Virginia, there was a rally for what that white supremacists were holding against people that wanted to take down a Civil War statue in Charlottesville, Virginia. Remember, a woman died, a car hit her during that, but really what it did is it really brought this whole issue of white supremacy, even Nazism, right in front of our eyes. And we remember that our president at that time talked about they're all everybody's a good person or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, many people felt like there wasn't a strong enough voice about, that's wrong, what's being done there. So that's what happened back then. Since then, we've had a culture war that's gotten stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, when Saturn gets to that place of 28 degrees in February, that same spot, I expect there to be some important shifts. The United States moon, by the way, is at 28 degrees of Aquarius from its birth on July 4th, 1776. Almost 28 degrees of Aquarius, 27 plus degrees of Aquarius. And that's our inner values, our Aquarius values. Your inner values sit in your moon. And so our inner values are the moon and Aquarius values, which are all the ones I told you about: diversity with unity, equality, power to the people, all of that. We've come a long way from that. So That happened back in August of 2017. The other thing that happened back in August of 2017 is Trump was strutting with the North Korea leader. Then they started being nice to each other and strutting against each other, kind of weird dance they were doing. But the danger of North Korea became pretty obvious back then. Back when Roswell happened in July 1947, the eclipse then, solar eclipse, 28 degrees of Taurus. Why is Taurus important too? Anything in fixed signs at 28 degrees matters. So Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio are the fixed signs. So that one was at 28 degrees of Taurus. Not long after that eclipse, Roswell happened. You know what Roswell was. That was the appearance of aliens on our Earth. That was for real. The government tried to cover it up, but those of us that use our intuition strongly, we know that was real. That was at 28 degrees. Let me tell you some countries. North Korea, Saturn, 28 degrees of Leo. Israel, 28 degrees of Leo. We'll give you some people. Kamala Harris, Saturn, 28 degrees of Aquarius. Joe Biden, Sun, Venus, 28 degrees of Scorpio. I could give you all sorts of people and all sorts of nations that fit onto this 28 degrees of fixed signs. That's why February, look closely at February and see the signs and the symbols. Maybe something extremely big will happen, but maybe you'll just see the signs and symbols, because we'll have that same degree coming up later, like in July, Mars will be at that same 28 degrees, and Venus later, in late July, will go retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo. Again, that 28 degrees of fixed signs. And this continues. The next year, Uranus gets up to that 28 degrees. Jupiter gets up to that 28 degrees of Taurus, both of them. So we can expect to be a lot of change in the world this year and next year. Why did I mention the alien thing? Because I think that that's going to be a part of what's going on. Some of you that know me from going back, you know that I interviewed Dr. John Mack, back in Santa Fe, public radio, KSFR. And I brought him on because I had read his book, and he talked about, he was head of psychiatry at Harvard. And I read his book, Passport to the Cosmos. And in that book, he said that people were telling him that there were people all over the world that were being abducted by aliens. And he laughed at it. He was head of psychiatry at Harvard University. So he laughed. He said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on, go interview these people, see what they have to say. You know what he came back with? Valid. These people he felt were valid, not insane. What they were saying was real. He said some of them actually saw these ETs, these UFOs in person. Some of them, maybe it was like being in another dimension, beyond the fourth dimension that they were seeing it, but he felt it was real. And one thing that they all had in common was that they believed they were abducted. So I've got some issues with that too. But nevertheless, they were told, we are ruining our planet. Nuclear weapons was their biggest problem. They didn't want us to destroy our Earth. It's a cell in the universe. It's a cell in our solar system. That's important. So that's why I go back to the 28 degrees back when Roswell happened and say, I believe that over the next couple of years, we're going to get a visitation that we're all going to know. That we're all going to know about. Not far from here, I'm in Sedona, Arizona. In Phoenix, just a few years ago, there was supposed to be an amazing, even the governor of Arizona saw it. Great big ship up above them with lights on. Thousands of people saw it. It's been buried since then. People don't talk about it, but that was pretty real. So I believe that that's going to be a part of what happens over these next couple of years. Could happen as early as February this year, but it could happen during those other months that I gave you. What else? So I'm going to tell you some things that I think they're not going to be, you're going to say, that's negative. It's horrible. I'm telling you this because There's the two worlds going on. There's the old world that's ending, but it still wants to live. And there's a new world being born. That those of us that are talking right now know this new world. We're a part of this new world, and we know this is where we're all headed. There's no stopping it. The age of Aquarius, or the golden age, or new earth, whatever different people call it, it's the same thing. We're going there. There's no stopping. It's there now. In my estimation, the age of Aquarius began in winter solstice of 2020. That's when Jupiter was conjunct Saturn at 0+ degrees of Aquarius on winter solstice. And new moon in Aquarius, 1 degree of Aquarius now. Just where that Jupiter conjunct Saturn was in Aquarius. This is a really turning point month to moving toward that consciousness. With Uranus changing directions, with the new moon in Aquarius, we're moving there. But I'm going to tell you, there's things that are going to happen this year and the next couple of years that are not going to be easy on a 3D everyday level. There's an eclipse in May, the second one, and that second one will be at about 15 degrees of Taurus Scorpio. That's right where China's Mars conjunct Pluto aspect is. I expect either China's going to invade Taiwan, or China is going to make waves that make people feel very strongly they're going to invade Taiwan. I believe that our economy is going to turn upside down over the next couple of years. I believe Israel is going to cause more problems for Palestinians and for Iran. I believe that the Russia-Ukraine thing is not going to get any better. But you don't have to get involved in it. You and me, we stay on the consciousness that we're moving into. And where you are in your consciousness determines what's going to happen in your life. Where you are in your consciousness determines what's going to happen in your life. So when you get to that place inside yourself, this new world inside yourself, you're going to draw to yourself what's right for you, what's right for your contribution to the age of Aquarius, and you're going to be pitching into this new world that we're moving into. And there's a whole lot like you that are there. It's possible the alien intervention will shift things. It's possible that God, Goddess, universe, all that is, will intervene and change things. I don't know. All I know is I study the countries and the leaders and things like that. Here's another one. I don't know what you think about this. I've been looking at the charts of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and I believe that somewhere before these 4 years are over, Kamala Harris will be the president of the United States. I don't know how that'll happen exactly, but I do believe that will happen. And I think she's probably more equipped, from what I know of her, to lead us into that age of Aquarius than many others who are either president or looking to be president. So, coming to the end of my talk today, I can't wait to have Patricia come on and give you what her visions are for the future. Let's see if April 20th. There's 2 eclipses in a row now. April 20th, May 5th. I told you a little bit about the May 5th one. It's going to be in Taurus, Scorpio. Sun in Taurus, Moon in Scorpio. The one on April 20th is at 29+ degrees of Aries. It'll be conjunct Jupiter in Aries. And it'll be closely square Pluto in Aquarius, newly in Aquarius. The solar eclipse square Pluto in Aquarius, conjunct Jupiter in Aries. This is powerful. These eclipses that are coming up in April and May, these are a real opportunity to go deeper into your new consciousness, to transform, to release the old, to let in the new. Every time we have eclipses, people go, oh no, it's an eclipse. It's an opportunity to evolve. It's an opportunity to transform your consciousness. Whatever's going to happen, know then it's meaningful for your life. And do your best to stay with it, to not get drowned in fear, and to allow the transformation to happen. Our world will probably have some real shocks in it for this eclipse season. And I forgot to tell you, the stock market of the United States was born in 1792. I looked at its chart, and it's got its sun at 28 degrees of Taurus. Wow. Remember, we have a Pluto return this year, the United States Pluto return. Its original Pluto placement was at 27.5 degrees approximately of Capricorn. And it returned to that last year. And this year it continues. It goes back and forth from being in Aquarius to back to that 27.5 of Capricorn by the end of the year. Pluto return. What's Pluto in the United States chart? It's in its second house. It's the military industrial complex. So with a Pluto return, which can only happen once every 248 years, which is the first one for the United States, it's going back to full circle to that Pluto in the second house. So you can see, so it's military industrial complex, or in other words, military economic complex. This is what has to change. There can be no superpowers in our new world. And as you see things rising in the East, it's meant to be to get us to this place of equality all over the earth. And we're going to be okay in the United States as long as we come back to our core values. If our core values change to celebrity and wealth, I don't know where we're going. Not good. But if we come back to those values that we mentioned before, the Aquarian values, we're okay, and we need to come back to them. So that's my report for today. And how we're going to do this now, I'm going to bring on Patricia, and then Deborah will come on after that. And then hopefully we've got some time at the end, and we'll have like a little bit of a panel discussion before we're done today. So I'm going to introduce to you, a lot of you that are listening, I think already know her. But for those of you that don't, Patricia is an internationally known teacher and co-founder and president of the nonprofit educational organization Era of Peace, which sponsors her work and the annual World Congress on Illumination. Patricia was a marriage and family counselor for 20 years. She now spends her time sharing the vitally important information she is receiving from the beings of light in the realms of illumined truth. This information from on high is distributed for free through Patricia's website, www.eraofpeace.org, in the form of monthly newsletters, weekly vlogs, webinars, YouTube videos, as well as Facebook and Twitter postings. Patricia also shares this sacred knowledge through the many MP3s, CDs, books, ebooks, and DVDs that she puts out. The divine intent of these celestial sharings is to give humanity encouragement, greater clarity, and understanding as we progress through these wondrous but often challenging times. Patricia's philosophy is every person is precious and divine, regardless of how his or her behavior patterns and life experiences may be from reflecting that truth. God, do I agree with that? We are not the victims of our lives. We are the co-creators of our lives. Now is the time to create the lives we have been dreaming about, and I agree with that. And we already have everything we need to accomplish that pulsating within the divinity of our heart flame. So let me bring on Patricia. I'm going to ask her a couple of questions, and then I'm going to leave her to her own devices. Hi, Patricia.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
Pretty good, thank you.
Thank you for sharing all of your information.
You're welcome. So, Patricia, tell everybody how you awakened to spirituality, and what point in your life did you awaken spiritually in the first place?
Well, I personally think we're in the midst of a very unique moment, and I think everybody in the physical plane at this time is here because we've been preparing probably for thousands, if not multi-thousands of lifetimes to accomplish our mission in this time. So my understanding is everybody had their own unique catalysts that we came into. And mine was not unique, even though we each have various aspects of this. But I was born into a family of what we would be termed today as a dysfunctional family. And there were a lot of challenges and a lot of difficulty. And from the time I was really little, there was a female presence with me that always let me know that no matter what was happening, no matter how afraid I was or what was occurring, that I was going to be okay, and that this is not the way life is to be in this world, and that I was going to be, if I set forth my intentions, I was going to be able to find the answers. And I never discussed that presence because I felt like uh, they would be able to make her go away. And when I was about 6 or 7 years old, my girlfriend and her family invited me to go to a Catholic church with them. And when I walked in, there was this beautiful statue of Mother Mary, and I knew right away that was my being.
Mm.
So I've had that guidance, that inner knowing, and that truth. But my own quest was to find answers as to why there's so much pain and suffering. So that took me through the gamut of world religions and psychology and all the various things, and through whether it was spiritual teachings or academia, the answers never were satisfying. And in the world religions, I would hear things like, oh, it's because Eve ate that darn apple. That's why there's so much pain and suffering in this world. And science would say, oh, matter just evolves out of chaos by happenstance. There's no really rhyme or reason for it. It's just by chance. And neither of those answers seemed satisfying to me. So I began really just doing what we all hear about: going within, seeking ye first the kingdom of heaven within, and began connecting with the beings of light. And then when I was, I guess in the 60s and 70s, is when I really started reaching out in more powerful ways to the beings of light, and was receiving very powerful information. And they asked if I would be willing to transcribe that and to make it available to anybody. They said that the esoteric teachings they were distributing to a relatively small number of humanity through the various mystery schools, that it was now time for that information to be esoteric, and there was no such thing as secret information anymore, that the information coming from the heavenly realms was to be distributed universally, because we are in the midst of a unique experiment and this cosmic moment. And I was honored and in deep humility grateful to be able to volunteer to do that. And they made it, I want to really stress this, they made it very clear to me that the reason I was selected is because I was absolutely normal. There was no unique special gifts. I had no extrasensory special perception. I was not a channel. I had no abilities or talents beyond what every single one of us has. And my mission is not to tell everybody what the truth is. My mission is to tell everybody that this truth is pulsating within each and every one of us. And no matter how much you love somebody or trust their information or resonate with what they're saying, that information is still being filtered through their consciousness because of their collective experience. So the idea is for us to go within and get our own information that will guide us for our own mission and our own life path. So that's what I'm doing now to this very moment.
Thank you, Patricia. I'm going to get off the screen now. I'm going to let you just kind of take over, if that's okay with you.
Okay, absolutely. That's fine. It's wonderful to be here with all of you. This is such an incredibly powerful and special time. And I'm not an astrologer, and Leo just shared a whole bunch of wonderful information with us. And the reality is that we don't need to study through all of astrology and understand every bit of what's going on. What we do need to understand is that all life is interrelated, interconnected, and interdependent. And even down to the atomic and subatomic particles and waves of life. Everything has a degree of intelligence, and everything has a purpose and reason for being, and nothing is happening by accident. So every single thing that's happening in the cosmos absolutely affects us according to our individual and life path, and not affecting us in ways that we don't have any control and we just have to be victims of this outer world intervention. I know I've certainly met people that wouldn't get out of bed in the morning if their Mercury was retrograde in their chart. You know, all of these people that are just feeling manipulated and controlled. These wonderful aspects that affect our lives in such powerful ways are in our lives to assist us and to guide us, but not to rule and control us. And what is happening at this time, we are receiving all of this divine intervention. And I personally, because I'm not an astrologer, and because just like Leo shared, there's so many things going on that can positively affect us. What I say to myself every morning on the holy breath as I'm breathing in my life force is I am absorbing and inbreathing the light of God from every single celestial opportunity, so that no matter what the aspects are or what's occurring out there that I may not be aware of, I can bring in the light of God in the highest aspect to affect my own personal life. And things are happening now. What I think is important for all of us to understand is it's challenging in the outer world, but we knew it was going to be like this. And we volunteered to come into this physical plane at this time, not because we're masochistic and we just wanted to see how much chaos and misery we could withstand. We are volunteering to come into this physical plane and to go through all the lifetimes that prepared us for this moment, because we were shown this moment. And we were shown that if, in fact, we would do what was necessary, learn what needed to be learned, go within and tap into our latent abilities and our full divine potential of God within our heart, that we would be able to co-create in unison with the divine intervention of the company of heaven, the new heaven and the new earth. And we saw what the completion of this experiment that we're in the midst of is going to be. We saw the beauty, the glory, the oneness, that there's no aging and disease, that there's no poverty, there's no war, there's no pain and suffering. It's literally what we used to perceive of as the heavenly realms. That's the dimension, the fifth dimension that we are moving into. And, you know, when we have loved ones that have gone through, or people that have gone through the near death experience, they continually talk about passing through this dark tunnel into the light. And all the dark tunnel is just this sea of negativity around the planet. It's humanity's misqualified thought forms and human miscreations that we inadvertently or deliberately created by expressing thoughts and feelings that weren't based in love. So there's patterns and thought forms of war and hate and greed and all of our human miscreations. Well, when we leave this physical plane, we pass through that dark force field of light into the light. And I was a counselor, as Leo mentioned, for 20 years, and lots of people came to me with near-death experiences. So I made that part of my mission to research it. And I studied all of the information that was available at the time about that, the books, the psychology, even things written by doctors, and the research that went on with people in hospitals who had electrodes taped to their heart and their brain, and for a period of time, maybe sometimes 20 minutes, sometimes even 45 minutes, they would have no respiration, no brain wave activity, no heartbeat, no electronic. In other words, the monitors were all flat. And they would come back sharing this information, and they had no brain damage or anything that would have normally occurred with someone that had had their oxygen deprived for that long a time. And they would talk about meeting their loved ones, and their loved ones, no matter what condition they were in when they died, they were in their prime and they were vibrantly healthy and they were living in beautiful environments, and they manifested and drew the unformed primal light through the process of meditation and magnetizing, and created their homes and everything they needed, the supply of everything they needed in their life. Nobody was working from morning till night to try to struggle and put food on the table or pay their mortgage. They were literally living in the new heaven and the new earth, and infinite opportunities beyond what we can even conceive of at this time with our imagination. Well, we've been through the shift of the ages, and as you know, we're in the process of it really. We're talking about moving from the third dimension through the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension. And the shift of the ages, we began really understanding about it in with harmonic convergence in August of 1987. And that particular information, most people were focusing on the 5,125-year completion of the Mayan calendar and that particular cycle. But the beings of light said the shift of the ages is far greater than that. The shift of the ages is a moment in time that occurs every so many millions of years, when cycles within cycles within cycles throughout the whole of creation dovetail into this rhythmic momentum with the heartbeat of our Father, Mother, God. And what happens during that cosmic moment, which happened for us in 2012, during the December 21st and 22nd solstice in 2012, when we aligned with the galactic core of the Milky Way, our Father, Mother, God inbreathed on the holy breath all creation up the spiral of evolution to the next octave of our learning experience. So that heavenly realm where our loved ones abide ascended into the sixth dimension. So those beings of light, our loved ones that are evolving between embodiments, are existing in an even higher frequency of perfection. The earth and all life is ascending into the fifth dimension where they were. And this is the momentum of the energy that we're moving into. Now, we're talking about 2023 and some of the important things that are happening. This weekend, as Leo has said, is a very important weekend. And just about now, I think at 1:51, it's 1:48 my time here. And I think at 1:51 is when we reach the apex of the new moon. And tomorrow is the lunar new moon, what we've often called the Chinese New Year. And this year is the year of the Black Rabbit. And I don't know a whole lot about all the factions of what that means, but we are beginning this whole momentum of this new year. So what the beings of light are telling us at this moment is that we have a very powerful opportunity coming up that will help to transmute this surfacing negativity. Every electron is intelligent. So when we receive this pure gift of prana, our life force, it is pure God light. It beats our heart, activates our brain through our acupuncture meridians, and that light enters our heart flame, the divinity within our heart flame. And when it does, it's stamped with our unique individual electronic pattern. And then we send it forth with our thoughts, words, actions, and feelings. And depending on our frame of mind and what we've qualified it with, it either adds to the light of the world or it's adding to the shadows. This is the process of involution. Then the process of evolution is that electronic light substance that is our gift of life, every subatomic particle of energy, is magnetized back to the identical electronic light pattern. This is how the universe knows what energy belongs to whom. It comes back to our heart flame, and then if it's qualified with love, The energy has to be qualified with the same or a higher frequency of light than we received it for it to pass through our heart and return to the heart of God. And if it is not, if we've created this gross mutation, this poor, beautiful gift of light, this atomic light substance, is this gross mutated energy with qualified with hate or anger or greed or whatever. It comes back to us, but it can't pass through us to go to the light. So it hangs around until we flood it with enough love to transmute it back into light. And so we absolutely have the free will to use our life any way we want to. But what we must know is that we are responsible for how we use that life. And this is what our returning energy, our life experiences, whether we call it karma or just the law of the circle, whatever, it's all our own energy. So what's happening now, humanity in mass is in the process of awakening, shifting conscious into a higher light. As this light flows into our heart through all of these wonderful aspects in the heavenly realms, including the solar light codes now pouring through our physical sun, our central sun, our great central sun, and our great great central sun, all of the solar aspects of the solar logos in Earth's lineage. As these light codes and the light flows through us, it enters the core of purity in every atomic and subatomic particle of our life, and it pushes everything that conflicts with that light to the surface. So what we're seeing in the outer world when we turn on the news is we see the garbage being pushed to the surface. And what we are responsible for doing is flooding that with love and light. And there's no frequency of vibration that is more powerful to do that than our Father God's sapphire blue flame of divine will and power, and our Mother God's crystalline pink flame of comprehensive divine love. Those two essences, the perfect balance of our Father, Mother God, create together the violet flame of God's infinite perfection. This is the most powerful frequency of light to transmute this negativity. So what this opportunity is that's coming up for us now, that's so important during this time with all of these wonderful celestial aspects affecting us, is that a very rare comet, and you've probably heard of it, has entered our solar system and is now passing through the Earth. And most people, through our system. And then about the 12th of January, it passed closest to the sun, and it's going to pass closest to the Earth on February 1st and 2nd. Most people think of comets as being dirty snowballs, but that's not the case. As I've explained, everything has a degree of intelligence and a purpose and reason. The beings of light have told us that meteors and comets, as they pass through solar systems, they shake the ethers of the heavy discordant energy. So what this means is that this psychic astral realm that people pass through as they're going into the light is full of all of the negative thought forms that haven't been transmuted back into light again. What comets do is shake the ethers and break down those crystallized negative patterns so that they are much easier to transmute back into light. It's like trying to burn a log with a flame. That takes a long time. But if you break it into wood chips, it blazes in, through, and around, and it transmutes and burns it to ashes very, very quickly. This comet is a green comet that has not passed into our solar system in over 50,000 years. And the beings of light told us several decades ago, when we looked at the aurora borealis and we looked at the energies and light flowing into the planet, and the rainbow and things like that, celestial outer world light, even sunsets and things like that, that there wasn't any frequency of green. Green is a higher frequency of illumined truth, healing, and inner vision. And the beings of light told us, when you start seeing manifestations in the celestial light that shows physically for us, that is reflecting green, we will know that we are in the full blown effect of our ascension and transfiguration into the light. This comet, the beings of light are saying, is an incredible. Now, I'll just say, I have seen beautiful green aurora borealises, and from Norway and from the northern hemisphere with violets and purples. There's all kinds of green in things. I've even seen green in rainbows recently. But this comet is unique, and it is bringing this powerful energy to shake the ethers and break down that crystallization. It will pass the earth closest to us on the 1st and 2nd of February. The beings of light said, because of all of the light that's been added to the world in the last several years, the last few years, the energy, more of these negative thought forms have been pushed to the surface than ever before. So this comet has the ability to shatter and transmute these negative energies that are just oppressing us and suppressing us because they're so heavy and so mutated. So our responsibility now is to take advantage of this and to blaze the violet flame. And it's good to start it now and just blaze it in, through, and around every electron of energy that's ever been misqualified by humanity in any time frame or mention or dimension, both known and unknown. Transmute it, cause, core, effect, record, and memory, whatever resonates with you, and just begin blazing that. So that as these new energies come in, and as Leo is sharing, with these eclipses that are coming, and with what's happening with the equinox as we reach other alignments at that time. So we have a really powerful opportunity. And what's important for us to understand is we knew it was going to be like this. We agreed to do this, not because we are masochistic, but we were shown what will result, the new heaven and the new earth, as a result of our efforts as we move that. And we made the decision that no matter what we had to go through, if it would accomplish that, then it was going to be worth it. And we agreed to do it. We were selected. And when I say we, I'm talking about every single man, woman, and child on earth. We were selected to be an embodiment at this time when thousands, according to the beings of light, and even millions in some instances, of beings that were volunteering to embody on earth were turned away. And the reason we were selected is not because we're so special or we're so wonderful, but it was because they said our individual unique experiences from our various lifetimes and how we handled it, they thought that we would have a better chance of staying focused on the light in the face of all of the negativity and adversity manifesting in the outer world. That we would be able to be in the world, but not of it. That we would be able to invoke the light and blaze that light without getting caught and buried and pulled down into it. And so we've agreed to do that. And that's where we are at this moment. And we've moved into this place now where we are powerful beyond our knowing. One of the things the beings of light said is going to occur in 2023 as we move into these new patterns is that we are going to be able, through our God self, our I am presence, to activate the latent abilities that are encoded within our 12 fifth dimensional crystalline solar strands of DNA that have now been activated. And Our scientists used to think DNA was stagnant, and so they had, all of this DNA, and it short circuited down to this double helix, and out of the double helix DNA, they say 98% of it is junk DNA. Well, all of that's just because they don't know what the rest of the DNA is, but that's absolutely absurd to think that would happen. But what is happening is that we are activating the full divine momentum of our fifth dimensional potential, which is 12 solar strands of DNA. And DNA is not stagnant. DNA is ever moving and flowing. And it is affected by solar light rays. It's affected by our breath. It's affected by our emotions and feelings. We are continually developing and evolving our DNA. And this year, we are reaching frequencies that is allowing this fragmented, fear-based part of our DNA from the old things to be transmuted into light so that the new heart-based 12 fifth dimensional crystalline solar DNA can take over and be our guiding light in our life. And there are latent abilities that we've developed over eons of time that we used to have prior to the fall. So this is all evolving and occurring now. And it's going to evolve step by step. We will be guided step by step. I know Leo and Lilia are going to be sharing a lot of information in their programs. For us at Era of Peace, the Beings of Light, I do weekly vlogs, just a short 15-minute little video every week, or we have a monthly newsletter, and all of that's available for free. And the Beings of Light guide us step by step through these transformational experiences. So it's available to you to check into and to look into. But we are really moving forward in new paths. I agree totally with Leo when he says that the Aquarian age began during that great conjunction of Saturn and Pluto on the solstice in 2020. And what we were told by the Beings of Light at that time, we reached a frequency of vibration when we moved into that with that alignment at the first degree of Aquarius. We moved into that frequency where our I am presence was able to raise us at a vibrational level to be able to receive higher frequencies of prana and our life force, literally elevating our holy breath. And our holy breath is our connection to source. That's why we receive it as our first breath at birth and our last breath at death. That is our life force. When our life force was raised on the holy breath during the solstice in 2020, the mighty Elohim, who are the builders of form, were able to place brand new fifth dimensional crystalline record keeper crystals into Mother Earth's crystal grid system with a new contingency plan that will accelerate this shift that we're moving toward. And I know there have been a lot of negative prophecies. This will be the last thing I'll say, and I don't want to be manipulating the time. There are prophecies, Nostradamus predicted all kinds of things that didn't manifest for the end of 1999 and the bad things. And the Beings of Light have said, and it's been my experience in all of these years that I've been doing this, we are never given information about some negative or difficult challenge that's going to happen on Earth if there's nothing we can do about it. If it's part of the divine plan, just like the negativity surfacing now, this has to occur. Mother Earth has to purge and cleanse herself because we've trashed the planet with all of our pollution and things like that. So we see these extreme weather conditions and things like that. But if there's nothing we can do about it, they don't tell us that just to terrorize us. A negative prophecy, a prophecy that foretells a negative outcome, is only given to us if there is something we can do about it. In other words, a fulfilled negative prophecy is a failed prophecy because it didn't accomplish what was intended, and that is for us to change our course of direction and avert that particular prophecy. So whatever you hear that pretends or foretells the potential of something really negative, invoke the violet flame and ask that it manifest in perfect alignment with the divine plan and the highest good for all concerned. And, there is all kinds of shifts that are taking place in the monetary system. The beings of light, there's all kinds of programs and things people are talking about where money is going to be equally distributed to all the light workers and all the mortgages are going to be solved and all that kind of thing. What Saint Germain and the beings of light have told us consistently is that our outer world manifestation of abundance is a state of consciousness. And they said, if we divide all the money in the world equally among all the people without a shift of consciousness, in 5 years, all the rich people will be rich again and all the poor people will be poor again. The infinite abundance of God is our natural birthright, but comes from us as we move out of poverty consciousness and create prosperity consciousness through the ebb and flow and the oneness of life. So I'm going to get off my soapbox and let Leo take over. Or Leah.
Thank, thank you, Patricia. I was on one today too, so I understand. Um, we're going to likely have some time at the end, the three of us to talk together. I hope you'll stay for that. But thank you so much for that very, very positive and uplifting.
Thank you. We're
We'll
blessed.
talk.
It's a powerful time.
Honest to God, that's exactly what I believe. Talk to you later.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So now that was wonderful. And now we are going to speak with, or Deborah's going to speak to us. Deborah Knighton Tallarico. I know her pretty well. And she's got a lot on her heart and mind that she wants to share. So, Deborah, I'll just let you just come on and say what you want to say.
Okay. So first I want to say hello, everybody. And I am so excited to be here with all of you. And I feel so blessed that Patricia was able to join us today. I've been reading her newsletters, oh my gosh, since the 90s and or longer. And I just feel so grateful. And I feel so grateful for what each of you shared today. About this year and where we are on that spiritual level. So, what I'm going to talk about a little bit, what I got guided to share was a little astrology connected to the cycle of Venus for this year. And I really got tuned into this year being a numerological 7 year and the significance of that, and also its connection with the chariot in the tarot. I consider that like some of the ancient mystery teachings, and I really want to share a little bit more about that to just kind of enlighten us for this year. And I'm so excited to hear about this green comet that is coming. That kind of adds to everything today. So, as both Leo and Patricia have mentioned, today is such a powerful new moon that we just had about 15 minutes ago, where the sun and the moon joined together at 1+ degrees of Aquarius. Venus is also in Aquarius right now. And what makes this new moon super potent is it is the closest new moon to the Earth. It's called a perigee moon, when the moon is closer to the Earth, so it appears larger on the horizon, even though we cannot see a new moon, because we won't see the sliver probably till tomorrow or the next day. But just notice how close the moon is to the Earth. And this will be the closest new moon to the Earth until the year 2145 in December. So that is really powerful. And the fact that it's in Aquarius at 1 degree near Pluto and near that 0 degree point where Pluto will be moving into in March. So it's super potent. And also the fact that we're moving into the sacred turning point in the great wheel of the year towards Imbolc, which is on February 2nd, which is the time that Patricia said was the green comet coming in. And Imbolc, for those of you that don't know about Imbolc, I always celebrate it from the 1st or 2nd through for the next week, because it's actually the midpoint between in the northern hemisphere, between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. In the southern hemisphere, it's the midpoint between the summer solstice and the fall equinox. And what Imbolc is, it's a very sacred time of the year. It's a time when people in ancient times, they would bring the candles out to bless them, and it's connected to the goddess Bridget, who is the goddess of the triple flame of inspiration. And it's a time when in the northern hemisphere, the things start to stir. The seeds begin to stir in the womb of the mother, in the dark womb of the Mother Earth. So at the fall equinox, the seeds come inside. We have the harvest time, and then in the winter we kind of hold the seeds within. And we're going to be talking a lot about seeds, and I'm going to do a meditation at the end, focus on the seeds. So at Imbolc, the seeds stir, and also it's like they get sparked with light, new life and light, right at the time of the comet also being here. So super powerful. And as Patricia also mentioned, today marks, and tomorrow, the beginning of the new Chinese New Year, which is, as she said, the black rabbit, but also known as the water rabbit. And I just wanted to say, I don't know much about Chinese astrology, but what I did find out was that, so the last time we had a water rabbit year was in 1963 to the beginning of 1964. And before that was the beginning of 1903 to the beginning of 1904. And so the water rabbit, I just want to say a couple of things about it. It's a very sensitive and empathic energy. It brings peace and tranquility and harmony. And also, with it being water brings in that enhanced intuition. And also, one thing I found interesting was that it also can portend political and leadership shifts. I don't know if there's any connection. Back in 1963, it was actually the year my brother was born, in November, and also the year that Kennedy was assassinated. I don't know what that means, and I don't want to put anything negative out, but it could be some shifting in leadership in the world during this new lunar new year in the Chinese. So the other thing I wanted to say was this year being a 7, the day of July 7th, 2023, 7/7 will be a powerful portal to pay attention to. And we'll be talking more about 7 in a minute, and that will shed light upon that. Also, May 5th, as Leo talked about, is going to be another Wesak. Last year, the Wesak full moon was also a lunar eclipse. So that's going to be a potent time. And, the Wesak full moon is a time when the Buddha was known to be born, attain enlightenment, and leave earthly incarnation. It's a very powerful full moon to really look at your spiritual path and the direction you're moving. And then I also want to talk about the Lion's Gate. So the Lion's Gate also on 8/8 is also going to be a powerful portal. And now the next thing I really want to focus on is the Venus cycle. So right now, the Venus cycle that we're in started in January of 2022. And Venus, I've been studying the Venus cycle in this wonderful class, Venus Alchemy with the Shamanic Astrology School. And it's been really amazing to be working with this cycle for the last 4 years. And this cycle of Venus is connected to the ascent and descent of Inanna. And Venus actually follows a pattern like the descent and ascent of Inanna. Is very much connected to that. And so last year in January, we started what was a new 19-month cycle. And the oversouling energy, it was Capricorn, because Capricorn went retrograde and then direct during, and that's what happens when it shifts to a new energy, an oversoul. And that energy, what is the energy of the grandmothers and the wisdom of the grandmothers. And I just wanted to say that a positive prophecy, the Hopis said, was when the grandmothers speak, the world will heal. And I think this has been a very significant time since last January of working through ancestral issues, connecting with our own inner wisdom, the wise one within us, and the wisdom of the grandmothers, the wise woman, the wise man within us. So, and this cycle goes all the way till the end of July into August. And what I wanted to talk about is Venus moves into Leo on June 5th this year. And then Venus goes retrograde in Leo on July 22nd, which is a very powerful day because it's the day of the Magdalene feast day, which is the time to honor the beloved Mary Magdalene, her energy and connection with the divine feminine Christ consciousness. And so she's going to be retrograde in Leo until September 3rd. And when a planet, and so she's going to be retrograde for a really long time and in Leo for a long time. And that's how she shifts into a new cycle, new Venus cycle. And then she stations direct on September 3rd, and then she rises as a morning star before that. So right now, Venus is in the evening sky right before right after sunset. You can see Venus in the evening sky in the western horizon. And so she rises as the morning star. And what's significant about this is I just want to talk about the energy of Venus in Leo. And Venus in Leo will be oversouling the cycle of Venus for the next 19 months after that shift. And it's like a metamorphosis from the Capricorn energy to the Leo energy. And the Leo energy, it's in alignment with what we've been talking about today. So the Leo goddess energy is about the divine sovereignty, our divine sovereignty, and really shining our heart light, because Leo is very much the energy of the heart, and shining our light, our divine light, our divinity. And Leo always reminds me of the connection to our divine inner child, and really, healing our inner child so that we can birth and be an embodiment of our divine child within. And so this energy, as the Venus cycle shifts into Leo, it's going to be very much connected to, our self-love, because Venus is like the sun in the heart, beaming out its light and love and compassion and self-confidence and self-acceptance. And so that's going to be a lot of the energies, also fun energy, as we know with Leo, very heartfelt energy. So that's all I'm going to say about the astrology, but it's very exciting, and exciting with everything that everyone else has talked about. So I just want to talk about this year of the 7 year 2023. If you add up 2023, that comes to a 7. So what that means is that's like a collective number for all of us, because we each have our personal numerological vibration for the year. But a 7 year, and the number 7 is, as many of you may know, it's a very sacred number. All the numbers are sacred, but it's a very sacred number in terms of Oh, someone just said, did we lose connection? I think we're still here. I hope we're still here. And so this year, if you think of 7, there's 7 notes in the musical scale, 7 days in the week, 7 chakras. There's the 7 sisters of Pleiades. And really connected to 7 also is that in creation, the story of creation is that the earth was created, and not just the earth, the universes were created in 7 days. And the 7th day was the day of rest. And this goes into what I want to talk about. So first, I'm going to talk about 7 being connected with the day of rest. So if we look at this 7 year, from my guidance and my little bit of research and just really tuning in deeply, it's a time of introspection, to really go deep within to our inner divine purpose, our deepest purpose, to rest, to quiet ourselves, to be really connected to our inner self, to become quiet and receptive, and to surrender, and to really just reflect on your life, seeking answers within, communing with nature, being in solitude. Also, there's the energy of discipline, self-discipline, and our own self-mastery of our own inner thoughts, our hearts, and like Patricia talked about, working with the violet flame, bringing things back to love is going to be really important. It always is. But this year, there's going to be from this inner place inside. It's a time to really penetrate the great mysteries behind everything, to delve into inner wisdom, mysticism, the mystical traditions, which is the root of all the religions, is the mystical roots, which goes back to the oneness, how we're all unified and connected. And it's a highly spiritual number, time of greater spiritual awakening and enlightenment, a time to really pay attention to the signs and symbols and synchronicities, which it always is, but it will be even specifically even stronger during this year. And someone just said to meditate on gratitude and unconditional love, and that's right. And so I want to bring us to the seeds of the 7, also connected to the seed of life in sacred geometry. The seed of life is the 6 circles connected with the circle in the center. So it's 7 circles, and it forms the seed of life, which is the seed of creation and our consciousness of creation and enlightened creation. And it's a symbol of, it's expanded universal consciousness. Within it is the Vesic Pisces, which is the union of the masculine and feminine. So this is a very powerful year numerologically. And 7 is also like a blueprint for the universe. So this year, really pay attention to, and we're going to do this in the meditation, to the seeds within you. What are the seeds you want to plant this year for the new earth, for the new human, the new heaven on earth? And if you go further into the mystical, metaphysical energy of 7, you also come to the Chariot in the Tarot. And I'm just going to hold this up for a minute so you can see. So in the Chariot of the Tarot, there's the white and the black Pegasus, which is hard to see, the black one. And that symbolizes, so the charioteer is the soul aligning with cosmic consciousness and cosmic will, and it's moving forward. So the chariot is movement forward, but it's through alignment with our will and divine will. And the chariot has the sun in the heart, which we were talking about with Leo energy, with the moons there. So, and it's got the yin yang symbol, which is the chariot moves forth with its newfound integration. And we just went through a 6th year, which was the lovers and the integration of the masculine and the feminine within. So this is really powerful. So in our introspection, you might tune into the seeds of creation and what you want to bring forth and into action in the world in your life. And this year is going to be really important. Always it's important to really ask yourself the question, because the charioteer asks us to become masters of our thoughts, our intentions, our feelings, our actions. So ask yourself, does this thought, this action, this intention, does it create unity or does it create separation? And have that be a guiding light. Does this exude love and higher truth? And to really look at that. Does this action, does this thought serve the highest good for all beings and all life forms? And this year we're going to be given that time to really focus on that. And I think for all the time. And the chariot, the other thing about the chariot is it's also like the Merkaba, which is the divine chariot in a way. It's a divine vehicle that we travel spiritually. And so that's also part of this energy. And the chariot also at this stage in the development spiritually is letting go of old forms, old identities. So this year we may be releasing old forms that have been comfortable but no longer are in alignment anymore with our destiny, with cosmic consciousness, with the divine plan unfolding on earth. So this is a time to be okay with letting go of old forms, old thought forms, old patterns, old ways of being that just don't serve you or our planet anymore. So this is a powerful time to really get in touch with these things. And the chariot is moved from it's the soul and the spirit in alignment with divine will moving us forward. So that's very powerful symbolism. And it's through introspection, through meditation, through connecting with our source. So I want to impart that. And also, we're going to do a meditation in just a moment. So this year, with the 7 and the seeds of creation, the seed of creation, the seed of life, sacred geometry for this year, to really connect with yourself as the light seed bearer that you are, and really work with activating and nurturing that seed of light and love within you, your divine, through your divine heart, and to just really be aware of your thoughts, your words, your actions, like I've said. And this year also I received guidance that this is a year of up-leveling to a whole new vibration with the energies, this new moon of Aquarius, the Aquarius energies coming in, and with Pluto and all that is how can you be of greater service in the world? Because that's a lot of Aquarius. Aquarius is a lot of, how can I take my light, my soul light, and bring that to be of service to the greater whole? And also, as we move into the 5th dimension, into the illumined, light and truth, is to how can we be of greater service from our hearts, from love, from our passion. And the quote that I'm thinking of that I absolutely love, a quote of Rumi, is let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. And that's really what this is about. It's like coming into this service to serve the greater community, common unity, the common unity of all life on our earth. And to really bring in that consciousness of that we are all interconnected. We are not separate from each other. We are one. And that's the chariot too, is that we're moving forward as one and unified in our diversity, and each knowing and remembering our sacred puzzle piece, because we each have a sacred puzzle piece. We have our divine light. We each are a unique facet of the divine. And now's the time, with Venus going to be moving into Leo and all the things we've been talking about today, is to bring your divine light forth, your divine gifts, your sacred medicine, to let your light shine, to bring your gifts to serve all of life and all of humanity, and be that vessel. That's the chariot too, and the Merkaba. Be that vessel of the divine to move through you, to speak through you, to be your hands, to bring the love, the light of the divine through you, to be of service to our human family and our community, our global community. So with that, and I can't stress enough how important it is to connect with our Mother Earth and also the greater universe always, and our heart flames. So now I'm going to guide us in a meditation to ground and awaken and activate what we've just been talking about. And yes, standing barefoot on the earth is really wonderful to, someone just made a comment, to really connect with Mother Earth. So what I'm going to do is just guide us in a little meditation now. And if everyone would just close your eyes. And this is the crystal bowl for the heart chakra. And we're going to start by bringing our awareness now into our threefold flame of our heart. Inside our hearts, as Patricia mentioned, we have the threefold flames. The flame, the pink flame of our divine beloved mother, and the blue flame of the divine masculine, of the will and power of creation, as well as the golden flame of divine wisdom and light and truth. So we have these flames, and we're going to just, for a moment, just breathe into our heart flames now. Breathing into our heart flames as our heart flames grow. And we may even feel the violet energy in there as the blue and pink flames and the gold. So a violet golden flames in our heart, growing and building in our hearts. And just staying centered in our heart flames now. Feeling the energy of Mother Earth beneath your feet. And the energy of the universe and universal source. And we're going to call in now all the divine beings that are here to assist us, to acknowledge them with our gratitude as we call to these ones, as we call to the spirit guides and keepers of the sacred directions, east, south, west, and north. And we call to our great spirit, to our divine Mother, Father, Goddess, God, all that is, to our universal source of all creation. We call to the Elohim and the Eloha, to the angelic and archangelic realms, to the mighty archangels of the earth and universe. We call to these ones. We call to the star nations, to the star emissaries. We call to the great sisterhoods and brotherhoods of light, to the enlightened ones, the ascended masters and teachers and guides that oversoul us and watch over us, to the star mothers and fathers, the universal galactic mothers and fathers, the Galactic Federation. We call to all these energies on high to be with us, to move through our pillars of light, our chakra columns now, entering our crown chakra, our seventh chakra, and moving down through our crystal core in the center of our being, moving down all the way down to bless the heart of Mother Earth. And just feel those energies moving down through you, the divine dispensations at this time of the Aquarius new moon, so close to the earth. And just feel those energies on high moving through us, through the soles of our feet, down to bless Mother Earth as we call to our beloved Mother Gaia in her enlightened form, our beloved Mother Earth, giving thanks to her for all we receive each and every day, the beauty of nature, all the elemental beings of nature that sustain us alive every day. Giving thanks to these ones, to the devas, the nature spirits, all the ancient guardians of the earth, the unicorns, the Pegasus, the Fae, the Elven, the serpents of creation, the dragons, all the mythical beings. We call to these ones, and we call also to the indigenous ones, the original peoples of the land we live upon, honoring these ones now, honoring these ones where you live, honoring our own ancestral lineages, all that have gone before us, and the future generations to come, as we move into this golden age of light and peace on earth. And at this sacred time of the new moon, when it is the most powerful time of the lunar cycle to plant our new seeds of intentions, we tune into these divine seeds of light. And I guide you to put your hand, one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, and just begin to tune into yourself as a light seed bearer. That within you, you carry these seeds of light and divine love. And at this time, they are being activated. And for the next couple weeks, as we move into Imbolc, when the seeds are enlightened with the incoming light of creation, and as the comet will be there too, just feel those seeds of light within you. What are those seeds of light that you wish to nourish and tend and care for through this year? These seeds for your life, these seeds of light and love for the new earth, for the new divine human. And just feel that inside of you. What are your seed intentions at this sacred time of the new moon, for the Aquarian age, the golden age of light and peace? What seeds are stirring within you? And you can work with this after the show and to just really tune in even more deeply to these seeds of life and the light bearer you are. And then just right now, begin to feel yourself as a charioteer, feeling the soul, the divine spirit that you are, with the integration of your masculine and feminine, yin and yang, light and dark within you, sun and moon, this sacred balance and integration within you. and just feel yourself aligning with divine will. So feel yourself aligning your will with divine will now, and feeling the power as a charioteer to move forth from this place of divine alignment with Mother Earth, with Source, with the divine will. And from this place, planting your seeds and moving forward through this year, through this lunar cycle, into the new earth even deeper, and bringing forth all your gifts to be of divine service to the divine plan unfolding on earth as we together birth the new earth that is already here, but bring it forth even to greater levels as we bring forth our gifts and our sacred medicine. And just feel these seedlings inside of you and really work on tending them over the next couple weeks through Imbolc on February 2nd and beyond the next week. And when we have this amazing comet, and just taking a moment to give thanks and just know that all these beings of light that we called in, and these beings of the earth, that they're always with us, they're around us, and that we can call on them anytime they want us to call to them. So call to them from your heart to enlighten your life, to guide your soul in your path of divine service. And I leave you with that now. And so be it, and so it is, giving great thanks to all the beings on high, all the beings of light, all the guardians of the earth. We give thanks to all these ones, and to each one of you, and to the divine child, the divine light bearer, the divine seed light bearer and love bearer that you are. We give thanks. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Deborah. That was really filled with wonderful information for everyone, and the meditation really helped me today. That's so much information the three of us are putting out there. A lot of energy we're all putting out there too. So I think the meditation maybe helps everybody to kind of like bring that back into their hearts and their souls. And you know, with all that's happening this year for everybody, it's a powerful year, just like we wrote about this to let people know what our show would be about. It's a very powerful year. Let me just say one thing about tomorrow, and then I want to bring everybody on. We have a little bit of time for discussion. Planet Uranus is changing directions tomorrow, and that's the ruler of Aquarius. Here's what Uranus does. Uranus is an awakener. It takes people outside of boxes, and it liberates people from stuck places. So if you've got anything in you right now over these last several months that's kept you feeling like things aren't changing, things are stuck, I'm not moving forward, if you can just let go of that story in your head now and just stay centered inside of you, you'll realize that this planet that gets us unstuck and liberates us is going to be really powerful over the next few days. And it's what we all need right now. A lot of people have been telling me lately, everything's staying the same, things aren't changing, things aren't moving for me, for them individually. And, you know, we've talked a lot on a bigger scale about everything, but there's all of us in our individual lives too. And everybody in their individual life wants that to be a good place to be too. And you have not control over it, but you have the ability to center yourself in whatever's going on, to keep yourself the way you need to be, no matter how intense the energies get going forward. And the energies will intensify, but they're meant to intensify, because if you keep like this, there's never any change, there's never any transformation. But when things are shifting and changing and moving, that allows us to make the changes in consciousness and in transformation that we need to make, and to let go of the stuck places or the places that we have been in forever. So allow it to happen. The power is coming. stronger and stronger it's going to be, especially when we get to the eclipses in April and May. But those are, again, all meant to help us to move to the next level, to move to the place of more love and more truth. Love and truth are what run the universe, and that's what runs all of us if we get rid of all the stuff that sits in the way of it. Let me bring on Deborah and Patricia as we finish up the last few minutes. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hey.
Patricia, I did not know about that comet. Do you know anything? Will we be able to see that comet with our naked eye, or do we have to have telescopes? Or what do you know about it?
It just depends. They have on NASA on the website, and you can pull it up on your on Google search and things. They have a lot of descriptions of when and how you can see it and if you can see it. So I don't have all those details, but certainly check it out. And the areas that I was seeing, it said that to use binoculars or a small telescope. But some areas you should be able to see it with your naked eye.
Thank you.
So powerful.
So if each one of you could say a sentence about this new year that's coming, to kind of put it all together, what would you say?
I believe that we're taking to the next step a major shift in the divine alchemy that's taking place within our earthly bodies and the elemental kingdom and the planet herself, in this transformation from carbon-based planetary beings into fifth dimensional crystal and solar light beings. I think this is a major opportunity, something that we've been building toward, and now it's going to be really huge. Now that there's this, that's more than a sentence.
That's okay. That's okay. Keep going.
I was going to say, now that the divine masculine and divine feminine are becoming balanced within us, our Mother God's comprehensive divine love is the highest frequency of love. And in the divine matrix, which is all that is of our Father, Mother God, the all-encompassing body of God, the foundation of everything in all creation is emitted from this foundation of love, from our Mother God's comprehensive divine love. And as above, so below. Now that the divine feminine is becoming within us, we are creating, all of us, with every breath, a foundation of comprehensive divine love on which the patterns for the new earth will be built. And nothing will be sustained on that foundation less than the harmony and balance of the new earth. No discord or anything like that can be sustained on that frequency of comprehensive divine love. So this is a huge move forward in the light this year.
Thank you, Patricia. Deborah, what would you say?
And I would totally agree with what Patricia said. And divine love being the foundation. I mean, love is where we birth. Everything gets birthed from, really. The womb of creation, the womb of our universe comes from love. And so it just, as I got to share and listening to both of you, I feel like it's a year of, inner reflection and aligning ourselves even more than we have in the past, maybe. Really aligning ourselves, our will with the divine will, and moving forward in anything we do in our life from that place of that divine connection and that connection to our hearts and to love. And with Venus moving in, the cycle of Venus shifting into Leo from the grandmothers, also taking the wisdom of the grandmothers and the wisdom within us, and shining from our hearts. And I really feel like the theme is, going to a new level of our own embodiment of our gifts, and then actually, how does that serve the greater community? And that's that energy of Aquarius that's getting so much stronger now. How do we bring that, our divine light, Leo, shining from our hearts, how do we bring that to be of service to the common unity? and I think unity going into unity consciousness, and I think that's all going to be a big theme this year. But from that connection with our deeper self, and our deeper self.
Thank you, Deb. That Leo energy is important. Not just the fact that Venus is going to be in Leo, but whenever you have an age, it's like there's the age, the sign of the age, but then the opposite sign also has a lot of strength. So, for instance, during the Piscean age, the Christ voice, the spiritual voice, the religion's getting stronger, but at the same time, we had empires that were trying to take over. And so there's always, that's my goddess right behind me there. I believe that with all my heart, that's the main thing that I want to be a part of, is that balance between the opposites, love and truth, male and female, dark and light. But when we talk about the Aquarius Leo, the Aquarius is about all of this diversity within unity that's so important. But like I said before, if you've got just Aquarius, everybody's equal, there needs to be energy too. And Leo, the opposite sign, is the energy. It's like the heart. It's like the sun. So even as the Aquarius, and we're all getting this diversity within unity, and all voices are equal, none any better than any others, the Leo energy will be important too, because it's going to be the engine that gets everything working. It's not, a lot of people think that Leo is just about people looking in the mirror and saying how wonderful they are. It's really not. The sun is the ruling planet of Leo. And the sun, I don't think the sun spends any time looking in the mirror. I think the sun just shines its light and shines its warmth. And when Leo's at its best, from the heart, it shines its light, it shines its warmth. And that's what's coming with us as we move into this Aquarian age. And it is going to be a challenging year. Let me throw in the truth of the love and truth, part of the divine feminine and masculine. It is going to be a challenging year. And we're all going to need to focus on the things that everyone's been talking about today. Raise your vibration. Get into your heart. Feel the love. The world out there is going to throw a lot of challenge at us this year. And we don't have to fall victim to it. We need to stay centered, to stay in our hearts, and to know that everything is divinely ordained and moving in the direction we need it to move in. It's so easy to get taken out of there with fear. Don't let it happen. That's the part that we need to not let in. That doesn't mean no fear at all. I mean, we're human. We're going to feel fear. But when you let it take over and you start drowning in it, you lose your center, you lose your soul, you lose your heart, and you become part of what we're letting go of, not a part of what we're moving into. So, yeah, Deb, did you want to say something?
Yes, I did, and then I lost it for a second.
Okay.
Yes. What I was going to say is, whatever's going on in the outer world, to just remember that it's the old world, the old regime, just starting to dissolve and dismember, or whatever word you want to use, so that the new birthing is rising, and really, as light workers, way showers, bringers of the light that we are, and I think many of the people listening, is to just keep refocusing ourselves back to those seeds of light and love that we're carrying and birthing and planting everywhere we go in our life, and to just keep bringing ourselves away from the outer. And as Patricia said, and others said on the stream here, is to really, send the violet, work with the violet flame. And I also work with the white cosmic flame of purification to purify ourselves first. And remembering, I think the other thing is, remember that everything outside of us is also a reflection inside. So we can do our inner work. I think our inner work is really important, and working with the violet flame, the cosmic white flame, to transmute anything inside of ourselves that's not of that greater vibration of love and light.
Patricia, Patricia, someone wrote up there about a quick violet flame cleanse. Can you lead us in that before we end today?
Sure. Let me just say real quickly too, in alignment with what we're talking about, is for us to remember that we have all been selected to be here because we have been prepared to stay focused on the light in the face of all adversity. So that's just trusting our inner knowing. One of the simplest mantras is transmute, transmute by violet fire all causes and cores not of God's desire. I am a being of cause alone. That cause is love, the sacred tone.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
So really powerful. And it's been building in momentum for decades.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Do you have any advice, Patricia, for people that are going to be really challenged by some of the things that are happening? What would your advice to them be?
My advice would be that we are never given anything we can't handle, and we're going through exactly what at some level we have agreed to go through. Now, on a conscious level, I know we'll kick and scream and deny that, but we are not given anything. And the only reason it's being given to us at this time is to assist us in clearing it, transmuting it, so we can move forward in the light.
I totally agree with
Thank
that.
you.
Everything is part of the divine. Everything.
Absolutely.
And to remember that in every moment, anything, like any experience we've had, like you shared, Patricia, early on, and I know for me, I've had struggles in my life, but they're exactly what I needed to be who I am today, and that's true for every single person.
Right.
As hard as it might be, it helps them transform and transmute and evolve.
Right. And to know that the ugly things that are coming up were originally our precious life force, our gift of life that was given to us, that we have distorted into this gross mutation that has come back like a battered and abused child into our space so that we can flood it with love and light and transmute it back into light.
Exactly.
That is what it is, no matter how ugly it is.
Exactly. Beaming that love to everything is the key.
I think most everyone can relate to tough things happening in their life. They went through a divorce.
Sure.
They lost something that they really loved in their life, and yet they are who they are right now, which is a transformed person from those terrible things that happened. I know people that even had like really rough childhoods where they, you never think, my God, how'd they ever make it out of that? And yet they did make it out of that, and they transformed, and they look back on their life and they still see everything that happened prior to the moment they are in now as a meaningful movement toward this person that they've turned out to be now, and they like who they are now, regardless of what they had in their early life. So I think almost everyone can relate to that.
Yes, and they would not be the person they are now if they hadn't gone through the difficult thing.
Exactly.
Gone through that challenge, they wouldn't have learned what they needed to learn to be who they are now.
And someone just said God's grace, and I think there's grace, and that's something that we can be aware of. And there's all these beings here to assist us. The family of light, the company of heaven, all the beings are here.
Right, and God's grace is a gift that has been referred from higher realms. It's a gift of forgiveness beyond what we believe we've deserved.
Yes.
And in most instances, that's the truth.
Yes, and I think of the violet flame too as a flame of forgiveness. Don't you think that, Patricia?
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's a new frequency of it that I've been talking about recently, which is cosmic forgiveness. It's coming from a higher fifth dimensional frequency. It's a really powerful force field of forgiveness.
Yes. And one thing I learned about forgiveness in my spiritual school I was in for a while is that forgiveness is giving love back to whatever love was taken away from.
Right.
And I always loved that. It's like forgiveness is giving that love back to whatever it is, to yourself, that whatever part you've not forgiven in yourself or someone else, is giving that love back to that.
Well, I'm going to have to tell everybody goodbye. We're going to leave in a second. Someone did just write to me saying, could you find out what sign the comet is in? I'll do some research on it and see what I can come up with on that. But I thank you, Patricia, for being with us. That was really wonderful, your contribution to our show today. And Deborah, of course, people know you, and I think you were at your best today. So thank you. And we'll see everyone in 2 weeks. Go on.
Oh, I just wanted to say that people can reach Leo at his website, leoknightontallarico.com, Patricia at eraofpeace.com.
.org.
.org. eraofpeace.org. And my website is GaiaSophiaTempleOfTheHeart.com.
Thank you for that, Deborah.
Yes.
I forget about that stuff. So we'll see you all in 2 weeks for our next show. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. All our love.
Bye.
Beaming to you. We're beaming our love to everyone.